Hi, everyone. My name is Savio P. Clemente. I am a media journalist, a board certified wellness coach, a podcaster, also a bestselling author, and just recently a TEDx speaker. Taylor, honestly, I saw him on TikTok. He talked about one of my favorite books, Autobiography of a Yogi, and I just knew I had to follow him on TikTok. And then a month and a half later is when I signed on. I joined Thought Leader because I knew I had to up level my own skill set, but also I wanted to face a fear. And that's why I did it. The fear of public speaking, and doing so on a platform like TED is something that I always thought I could do, but now it's something that I did do. And so for me, the journey has been one of great inner and external transformation. I really loved the container that the program was built around. You had some amazing, I'm a writer. You had some amazing coaches who understood language, who understood the nuances of a talk versus a piece of writing, who actually took the time to edit and to formulate and to help you collate and gravitate towards your message, towards this idea of an idea worth spreading. And I also really love the communication, the community that you guys built in terms of having that portal open so that you can communicate with that. And also the cohorts, like they were great. I was paired with two other individuals. One of them wasn't really diligent, but the other one, her and I kept in touch all the time. We text messaged each other and we cheered each other along. And I think that accountability really helped foster, for me, a breakthrough in getting and landing my talk. We were told right off the bat that there's 85 applications to one yes. And that application to TEDx Raleigh, North Carolina, was my 8th application. And the organizer and I had alignment. I knew after the call that I got it because she intimated that I got it, but she didn't really verbalize. And then 2 days later, I got the email saying, and that particular location had over 300 applications. That's what she told us when we were there. And they only chose 10. And they chose me to go first. So I knew I had to set the tone and the bar. So I just really love Thought Leader because they explained it. They didn't give you this idealized version of it. They told you the truth. They had all these tools, all these resources. They had a whole list of places that you can apply to, and they updated it consistently. They had individuals that answered your comments or questions on the portal. I think the biggest takeaway is this idea that you only have this one shot at this particular opportunity. So one of your speaker coaches, Tanja, said that she would give somebody a prize if they had over 100 revisions. And that wasn't my goal, to be honest with you, but I ended up having 82 revisions. I'm a writer. I kept revising to make it flow and to make it so that I could embody the words. I didn't want to just recite the words. I wanted to embody the words. And I was also telling, just some input for you guys who are listening and watching, my talk was called 7 Minutes to Wellness, How to Love Your Inner Stranger. And I'm a stage 3 cancer survivor. So I told a personal story about my experience with that, and also at this point interviewing 200 cancer survivors on that journey and how they've navigated that whole process. So I knew I had to add delicacy to the talk, but also had to add this level of reverence to the talk, but also this level of understanding, because I want people to understand just because you're a survivor doesn't mean that someone has to look at you differently. They can see you as much more than your disease. And so for me, I really like that aspect. And I also like the aspect of always coming up with these beautiful ways to support us. So practice talks, and then you had those writing intensives, and then also just the dialogue that was created. That community feel is what I felt like that investment that I spent was in droves. Like I recommended the program to so many people because I felt like the value that I got from it, not only because I scored a TEDx talk, but just even the process was something that I felt that I needed in my life and that I wanted to also pay it forward. And if you have a germinating feeling or a germinating idea or thought or an impulse or a perspective, an idea, it doesn't have to be radically revolutionary, but an idea that you feel can spread to people and offer or ignite that hope, you need to do yourself a service and invest in a program like Thought Leader. And I'm not just saying this because I graduated from it. I feel like I graduated from it, although there was no diploma. The TEDx was the prize. I feel to a large degree that your talk can go in so many different places and so many different worlds and so many different subworlds that it could actually help people understand their own life, but life in general. Because I often hear people talk about their purpose, and that's wonderful, but what about all of our purposes are floating on this giant rock in space. Like if you think about it, it can actually mess with your mind. And I think a talk in and of itself and the way you guys prepare us for it really allows us to express that and also find deep truths within ourselves that we can align with other people. So I would say 100%, if a talk is burning within you, you should get support around it. And the selling factor for me was the fact that beyond Taylor being a great personality was that you at this point have put more than 400 people on the stage. And to me, I'm like, if they could do that, then I could see myself there. So I kept visualizing myself, putting in the work, doing what I needed to do, and finding the support I needed through your program.